last time you actually stopped and listened to what you were feeling? Not managed it or pushed through it, but actually listened to it. Because every emotion that you've ever tried to talk yourself out of or just survive was actually trying to tell you something. It was trying to point you somewhere. We aren't taught this, at all. We're taught to manage our emotions, to regulate them, and keep them appropriate for the situation. And I know there is a time and place for that, absolutely. But somewhere in all of that managing, we stopped listening. And there's a difference, a big one, and that is exactly what this video is about, that difference. Your emotions are always reacting to something, a thought, a situation, a dynamic that just doesn't match what you actually need. They're not just like weather that rolls in and rolls out. It's more like a check engine light. And that light isn't the problem. The light's just doing its job. And the moment you start treating it like information instead of like an inconvenience, then everything starts to shift. So let's strip it all the way down, and your emotions are basically telling you one of two things. This is aligned or this isn't. That's it. Nothing more to it. Joy, excitement, peace, those are a yes. Dread, resentment, that low-grade irritation that you just can't shake, those are a no. And all of those complicated feelings that are usually a yes and a no at the same time, well, that's also really useful information if you know what to do with it. So the practice is simple. Can you hear it earlier on? Because the signal starts very quiet, and the sooner you actually listen to it, the sooner you can actually move. And the more you ignore it, the louder and more uncomfortable it's gonna get, right? And if you are the kind of person that this is interesting to you, then you are probably my kind of people. So I'd absolutely love to have you stick around and subscribe. Definitely hit that like button if anything is resonating with you so far. But anyway, and I want to be very intentional about how much or the way I share things, because there are real people in my real life. I'm going to keep this kind of vague, but I have had a situation in my life where that signal was loud for a really long time, and I just kept ignoring it. Not listening to it, not fully anyway. I'd acknowledged it, complained about it, talked about it in circles, but didn't actually move on it. And what it looked like day to day was exhausting. And I mean, I was exhausted. I was irritable, just tired, and had this kind of a maddening feeling that I just couldn't shake, no matter how much other parts of my life were great even. There was just always something that just felt off. And here's what I now know, is that it wasn't the situation that was making me feel that way. That was just the signal. And it kept getting louder because I kept turning the volume down instead of actually listening. So imagine that your gas light comes on and you just ignore it because that's a problem. Your light is on. It's a problem. You just don't get gas. What's going to happen is you're going to run out of gas. And the situation becomes eventually so loud that you just physically can't ignore it anymore. You are forced to take action. And when it's just gas, it's just gas. But it does happen and reflect in our own lives as well. So anyway, for me personally, the moment that I started to be honest with myself, what that signal was actually telling me, even before I took action, something just shifted from me really hearing it and sitting with it. So again, if this is resonating with you and you do want to go deeper on it, I am having a workshop that is coming up that is built exactly around this kind of work, is getting back to yourself, learning to trust what you're actually feeling, removing blocks, and truly designing a life that actually fits you. I'm going to drop a link down below if you want to get on the wait list for that workshop. Spots will be very limited. I'm going to keep it as a very small, intimate group. So anyway, the people on that list will get first access to join that workshop. But anyway, back to it. Here's what I actually think. You are under listened to, and there's a version of your life on the other side of actually tuning in that looks a lot clearer than where you are right now. Maybe not perfect, but definitely clearer, because you're wired for this. Your emotions are some of the most precise data that you have access to. And the moment you start treating your emotions like information, then everything just starts to make a little more sense and will be easier to just kind of fall into place. So I want to know, is there something that you've been feeling lately like you haven't really stopped to listen to? Drop it down below. Even just like one word, I'd love to hear. But anyway, again, if any of this resonated at all, I would love for you to share it with anyone else who needs to hear it today. Subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you in the next one. Trust what you're feeling. It does know something.